This is Daleelliottjr with another morning monologue. Today I will be talking about immigration and I am going to expand on how one can achieve status in the US. Whether that is to become a citizen or that is to get a green card. Now, really, it depends on how you get into the USA. So, you can get here based off a visitor's visa. And if you come here with a visitor's visa, your pathway to becoming a citizen or getting a green card is different. Because, for instance, if you were filed for to come here, like either you filed through marriage, in which somebody came to Jamaica, married you, your spouse came to Jamaica, married you, you did an interview, you passed the interview, you went to the embassy, and then you came up. That's when you come up through marriage. Or your father or mother filed for you before you become the age of 21. They filed for you as a child. You can come up on a green card that way. Or your father can file for you, but you would come up as son or daughter of an immigrant. But yeah, you can come up that way as well. So it really just depends on who petitioned the paperwork. And that also dictates how long the paperwork can take to finish. For instance, if a father should file for his child, that petition probably takes between 6 months to a year. If a spouse should file for their partner, which is a husband or a wife, that takes another year. But say, for instance, you are 25 years old and your father is now a US citizen and he's filing for you, that petition takes much longer than if it was that if you were under the age of 21. Now remember, people, I am not an immigration lawyer. I am just telling you the information that I know because a lot of you guys asked. No. It is easier for you to be filed for before you become the age of 21 due to processing time. Now, after 21, the processing time takes a bit longer. Like, for instance, I can file for my sister or brother, but at the same time, that processing time is much longer. I think that processing time is about 7 years or more. But it is easy for me to say my mother was in Jamaica or wherever. It takes me 1 year to file for her. But if I had a daughter or a son that's over the age of 21, it's going to take me a much longer time. But the thing is, if you start the petition for your son or daughter before they become 21 years of age, that child's age is going to pause on the petition. So if it's, as long as it is before the person's 21st birthday, their age is going to be frozen and the USCIS is going to consider them a child. And then that now takes 1 year. There's a big misconception in the community that if you are past the age of 21, you cannot get filed for. Or if you're past the age of an 18, you're no longer seen as a child by the USCIS. That is actually fraud. Not fraud, but that's not real. But remember, people, the beauty about this information is that it is online. You can go and find it. And I feel like a lot of people just listen to the wrong people all the time. And anything that somebody is saying to you, just take it with a grain of salt. Everything is Googleable. You can go and check this information. This information is not being hidden anywhere. Now, say for instance, if you come here on a visitor's visa, you can have a different pathway to getting a green card or a citizen. If you are here on a visitor's visa, one way you could become a citizen is through marriage. That takes up to a year, but within that year you can get a work permit and a social, and you can work while your papers is being sorted. That way, when you receive a green card through marriage, you get a 2-year green card at first, which is considered a conditional green card. That's a green card with conditions. And after you reach that, after that 2-year green card expires, you will get another green card, which is a 10-year green card. The beauty with this way is that if you receive a 2-year green card and it expires, within a year after that green card expires, if you renewed it, you can now apply for US citizenship. Because if you are married to a US citizen, as long as you're married to them for 3 years, you can apply to become a citizen. In which, after you become a citizen, as long as you live a clean life, don't commit no crimes or anything, depends on the level of crime, because you can lose your citizenship. It's just on the severity of what you do. Unless it's some like espionage or some crazy stuff. Or you can lose your citizenship if they now check back and find that you committed fraud in the process of you getting your green card. If there was anything fraudulent before you became a citizen, if they realize they can actually denaturalize you. So you're not completely safe after being a citizen, but when you become a citizen, that's when you receive the full rights of being an American, which means you have the power of the passport to travel wherever you want to go, be outside of the US as long as you want, but you can also vote as well. You can basically get 100% of the benefits that you are, living in the US. Green card, you get a lot of those benefits, but you don't have the benefit of voting, and you don't have the luxury of staying outside of the US as long as you want. So that is a difference. Now, a lot of people that have a green card, they tend to feel like that is the end of the process. Why I wouldn't advise somebody just stopping at a green card is that anything can happen at any moment. Say, for instance, you commit a crime, and if you commit a crime, a federal crime, which is a felony, if you commit a crime and you go to jail over a year and a day, that is a deportable offense. And during the period of you having a green card, you need to show good moral character before you can apply for citizenship. So if you have a green card, please don't get arrested or get involved in wrongdoings. Even though you might not be deported, it will still affect you leveling up to becoming a citizen. Because when you are going for naturalization, they are going to do a background check, and during this background check, they want to tell that you have showed good moral character, the amount of years that you've been in the US, and they also want to know if you pay any taxes. Now, in America, taxes is super important. If you're not paying any taxes and you have a green card, you will not be a citizen. As simple as that. Because if you're applying for citizenship after 3 years, they're going to want to see your 3 most recent tax returns. If you're applying for citizen after 5 years, they're still going to want to see either the 5 or your 3 years of tax returns. So paying your taxes is super important. Showing good moral character is super important. Another way in which a lot of people can receive a green card is asylum or refugee status. You can apply for a green card when you have refugee status or asylum status after 1 year. Now, there's examples of this can be, during the earthquake, where some Haitians or just people escaping war from other countries, whether you are being persecuted in your home country for something, you can now seek asylum in America as long as you prove that you were being persecuted or you're escaping persecution. They can apply for asylum. So, for instance, perfect example, say somebody live in Jamaica right now and they're getting a lot of abuse. They can file asylum based under the criteria if the abuse that they're receiving is, if the US basically deems it deems it good enough for them to get it. So that is another way you can get a green card. Another way to get a green card is work. A lot of people come here Like for me, my first US visa that I received was a O2 visa, which is a alien with extraordinary ability. Because I did the movie, and you can get a green card after that. I think you have to renew it like twice, and then the company which got you that work permit, you can now go ahead and apply. Now a lot of like musicians and artists have these visas as well, and these visas allow you to basically live in the US and work in the US. But as normal, you have to continue to pay your taxes before you can apply, because you're here to work. Another way you can um uh receive a visa outside of, how many have I gotten? So you can be petitioned by work. You can join the visa lottery, which is another, I would say that takes a while and the chances get lower and lower. So if we're going to do like the levels under which one can get a green card, at the top of the list, I would say filing, which is your parent getting filing for a child. I would say a child or a parent is easy. So if I'm filing for my father or mother, or I'm filing for my child, that's easy. That takes within a year. The processing time normally is within a year. Spouse, if I'm filing for my wife, that takes a year as well. Now, if you're here and you have a green card, there is ways in which you can now speed up the process of you becoming a citizen. Now, it depends on how you come here, dictates how long you are going to take before you can apply for citizenship. So for instance, if you were married, you can apply after 3 years. If you were filed for by a mother or your father, or you filed for your husband or your wife, not husband or wife, mother or father or child, you can now apply after 5 years. So, or you can actually speed it up by joining the military. If you join the military, as soon as you finish the training, you can apply to become a citizen. And so this is one of the fast ways to become a citizen. Being in the military is a good way. So a lot of people have a misconception that for some of the things they need to find a lawyer to take care of stuff, and I feel like getting a lawyer is always the best thing to do. But before you go and you consult a lawyer, please try to have the basic information, because I believe that right now, the time that we're living in the US, where immigration is such a big topic, I feel like you are going to end up meeting a lot of people that, one, are not real lawyers. They're not like registered immigration lawyers. Two, you're going to meet a lot of people that is going to take advantage of the situation that you are in. Now, when I say situation, you might have been, arrested, or you might have overstayed your visa and stuff like that, and people will realize, and those things will come at a cost. Now, you might end up paying more. The simpler your case is, should be the least you should pay in order for them to get the case sorted. And the simpler your case is, there's a high possibility that you can now do it yourself. Now, me not tell you go do it yourself, but I am sure there's people in these comments right now that have done it on their own, because the forms are kind of similar. For instance, if I am filing for my child, I have to fill out a form I-130. And with the form I-130, that is as if I'm not in the country. Now, if I'm in the country, I would have to file if my child is in the country, I'd have to file something that's called adjustment of status, in which I'm in the US already and I am getting filed for. So for instance, if I am in America and my child is in America on a visitor's visa, I can file for my child and then file the adjustment of status, which means they don't have to go back to Jamaica to come up. when in cases where a lot of people have to go back to Jamaica is if they say, I'm trying to find a say you never had a like a landing stamp, they would try to tell you to go to Jamaica to receive the paperwork at the embassy before you come back. So if you never have a I-94, which is a stamp that you get when you enter the US in your passport, if you don't have that stamp in and you try a marriage to adjust your status, they're going to try to tell you to go back, not try, but they're going to tell you that you have to leave the country. Go to your home country's immigration office, embassy, get the visa or the green card, and then come back. Now, there's an issue with the border where a lot of people come in through the border. Now, if you enter through the border, your immigration situation is different from somebody that came in on a plane. If you enter through the border and you have been stamped or registered that you entered, you can apply through refugee status, or you have a better situation in which you can apply to getting a green card or becoming a citizen. But if you entered and you weren't processed, say you just wherever, say you walked over from Canada or you walked over from Mexico and you have no proof that you were like stamped and processed into the US, it is much harder for you to receive papers than if I came in on a plane. Now, people that have that situation definitely contact a lawyer. I cannot give you more information than I know. I just know that it is way harder, and that is something that you would need professional help for. But for instance, if you are just a law-abiding citizen, hardworking person, you earn a certain amount of money per year where you don't need to find a affidavit of support. When I was getting 5-4, I needed to find an affidavit of support. An affidavit of support is basically somebody who is explaining to the USCIS that they are willing to basically take care of you. They show their earnings to match with whoever is filing for your earnings, so that they can afford to accommodate you in the US. If you don't need that person, say you make $100,000 for the year and you don't need an affidavit of support, and you are quite competent, you read properly, your literacy is high, and you've filled out multiple forms and you understand the importance of documentation and keeping things, I would recommend you do it on your own if you have the time, because it's not that hard. But when it starts getting complex, I would tell you to go and find professional help, because it is not as difficult. I think the green card process might be more difficult than the naturalization process. If you have a green card, the naturalization process can be done online. You literally can just go on Google and type in uscis.com, and then you go to the search, the website is find where you go and apply for citizenship. You download the form. It's going to ask you some simple questions like say you've been here for 5 years. It's going to ask the last 5 years that you've been in the US, the last 5 addresses. They're going to ask for the last 5 tax returns, where have you worked, your employer's phone number, whether it's self-employed or you own a business. They're going to do a background check. Then you're going to just add yourself to a queue for when your processing time, when it should be your processing time. You go in, you do like a biometrics, and then they will call you in to do an interview. Before you do the interview, you'll get a packet that you will have to now read. It's going to say stuff about America that you should know, like when America got independence, America's president, the laws, stuff like that. That is all you're going to get into the packet. It's like a book, and you study that book. and then they're going to tell you when you should come back to do that interview. When you go back to do that interview, they're going to ask you the same questions that you read in that book. It's basically a test. And then when you proven that you can, when you pass that test, they're going to know either. I was fortunate enough, I was sworn in the same day. My oath ceremony was on the same day. Thankfully, when I went, I passed the test, and then the guy was like, "Hey, we have availability for today at 4 o'clock. So if you can be back here at 4 o'clock for your oath ceremony, that is good. If not, we'll reschedule." And I just cancel everything I had that day and just go get it out the way, because the thing is, if you pass the citizenship test, you are not a citizen until you are sworn in. When you do the oath of allegiance, they're going to take your green card from you, and then they're going to give you this like a certificate of naturalization. You should keep that certificate. You can photocopy and use the copies, but the certificate that they give you, if you lose it, it's $500 to replace it. But all in all, I believe that everybody who lives in the US has a chance to whether get a green card or become a citizen. I don't think you should stop at a green card, but I really think this is the time now where, if we've been here for a while, we need to start securing ourselves here and securing our loved ones. So if you are, say you're living in the States right now and you have a loved one, say you have a child right now and your child is 10 years old, I implore you that if one day you want to file for that child, please just go and be a citizen. If you have a green card, you have enough time to file for that child. And even if you don't have a green card, say for instance you're not a green card holder, you're not a citizen, and you want to get your child, and your child is 5 years old, you have until that child turns before that child is turned 21 if you want to get them in the States after a year. So perfect scenario, a man, you have a child in Jamaica and the child is 5 years old. You meet a woman here, you fall in love, you get married. After 3 years of being married to her, or you get married, this is the fastest way. You get married and you receive your green card within a year. The moment you receive your green card in a year, you now go ahead and you apply to be in the military. You get accepted into the military, you pass your PT training, you apply for a citizenship. You apply for citizenship, you receive that in, let's say, maximum 6 months. So within 18 months, you can be a immigrant to a green card. You're an immigrant, but say you're an illegal immigrant, and if you get married, after 1 year of being married, you get a green card. The moment you get the green card, you apply to join the military. You apply to join the military, within 6 months, you're a citizen. So it takes 18 months. And after that 18 months, you file for your child. Your child is here within a year. So it will take you, by your child is 7 or 8 years old, your child can be in America. Now, if you don't join the military and you get married, after 3 years, you become a citizen. When you become a citizen, you file for your child. It takes a year. So within 4 years, you can have your child with you. Now, the maximum time you can have to do that from 5 to 21 is, you have 15 years to do it. Now, don't wait on the 15 years, because anything can happen. You can get in a fight at a bar and, such and such happen. You hurt yourself, you hurt somebody. There's a lot of people get in trouble with like domestic abuse. You and your partner get in a fight. Your husband and wife get in a fight and you get a domestic charge, and that can either get you deported, or you can be in certain issues. Or say you have child support. If you're on child support, it is harder to file for somebody, because you're going to have to now prove, you're probably going to need an affidavit of support to get the person here. Or also, when you're on child support, they're going to minus that from the amount. of money. And if you're not paying the child support, there's no way you are going to be able to file for anybody. So there's so unpaid taxes, unpaid child support. These are super important things. So in order for you to avoid all of that, I would just say get everything as soon as possible. For a woman, the timeline for a woman is you're here. Say you're here and you finish college. Finish college, you have a work visa. Normally, a work visa lasts for I'm not sure. Don't quote me, or you fact check it. A work visa can go up to like 3 years, and I think after you renew your work visa, you can apply for a green card. When you apply for that green card, between that and getting a green card might be 5 years. And then when you get the green card, I think you might have to wait for another 5 years of having that green card, and then you apply for citizenship. So the way in which you received your green card has a lot to do with how long it takes you to become a citizen. And the things that you do on your way to receive them has a lot to do with remaining a citizen. So therefore, I would just tell anybody, do not wait anymore. If you cannot afford to pay a lawyer, check the complexity of your case and then try. And also, I realize that a lot of people don't check their paperwork. If you put your paperwork in, you will receive a case number. You can check on your case basically every day on the USCIS website. You can type in that case number and you will see exactly where they are in your case, how long. I had there was an app that I used at the time called Visa Journey, in which I could check to tell when my processing time was coming. So you can there is multiple places you can look, and it can be like, oh, well, we are handling anybody that applied last year in October last year. These are the cases that we're looking at now. So you can be like, oh, let me wait to see when is my time. Now also, there are people that, married to a husband or wife, and they're probably getting abused and stuff like that. You can file a VAWA and you can receive your citizenship that way as well, or your green card. So there are multiple ways of receiving your papers. And also, this is not to get anybody scared or anything like that, but with the administration that is in power right now, they don't affect the normal processing. It is being illegal and becoming legal is completely legal in the US. A lot of people come here and they sort out themselves eventually. So it's not, don't look at it as if I am illegal, everything is, there's nothing else for me. No, there are channels in which you can obtain citizenship here. You just have to use those channels. And if you are using those channels, what is going on won't necessarily affect you. When I say won't affect you is, if you're an illegal immigrant and ICE comes in and you have a case pending in court that has to do with your immigration status, say you are filing for your son and your son is at school, ICE cannot go to the school and deport him. His paperwork is already in. Say you are being filed for, you don't have a green card but you have a work permit, you have immigration status. The people that should be worried is the people that have made no efforts to have any paperwork in with the USCIS that is pending. If you have a pending case, you are not an illegal immigrant. Your case is being pending. Now, if you have a couple criminal records and you've been arrested a couple times and you've made no effort to apply for anything, and I sketch you, the chances of you being deported is high. And even when you're in ICE, you still have the right to a lawyer, and you still can now appeal your case and fight deportation. A lot of people have had deportation removal proceedings, like they have told you that, oh, the final decision on your case is for you to be deported. I think Don't quote me, but I think you can still apply. You can still fight the case, but just do things the right way and you should be fine. The problem is a lot of people don't do anything. And when you don't do anything, that is when time flies. You're here 10, 15 years. You've already created your whole life here. You have children here, and then now you are going to be deported, or you are getting in immigration issues that could have been prevented if you were just more proactive. So all I'm saying is just be proactive. If you don't see an immigration lawyer, they're online. You can go check them. I am not one. I am not an immigration lawyer. I am just giving you advice. These are a lot of people that support me. Thanks for watching. But I'm just saying, go find an immigration lawyer, fix your situation. Now, if you're watching and you have all your immigration issues sorted, thank you. We're good. We don't have that to worry about, and let's just have the people around us don't have that to worry about. So share this video with your friends who seem like they don't have anybody that they can reach out to. They can watch this video. They can now take the information that they get from this video and they go search and try figure out their situation with either a lawyer or on their own. So thanks for watching. I'm out.